G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Cold Waters with Mags. And this time I'm hoping we actually have the right submarine group. So we've intercepted this one down on the southern coast of Norway. It does seem to fit the profile of what we're after, and it is a submarine group. So that's not lining up. That's not a submarine. That's a trawler.
Sonar Sierra 1 is classified as merchant.
Alright, so what is our depth? Depth. Let's go to periscope. It's only a 5-foot change. We're going to do that. We're going to confirm that our trawler here is in fact a trawler. Estimated range is 20 kiluyards to our trawler. So let's go full radar. This is supposed to be a submarine group, so 19.7 kiluyards, and yes, it is in fact a trawler. Set depth to conditions. We're in 376 feet at the moment, so we've got really bugger all space to actually work here. Let's set depth to, we'll go to, actually no, make it 150. Make it 150. Alright, so noise in the water is 89 decibels at this point. We are not getting anything at this point.
Come right to 065 Helm I.
I'm just turning the submarine at this point to see whether or not we can actually pick anything up on sonar to begin with, or at least on mics. Actually, let me look at that again. Looks quite alright at night time. Running lights and all. Looks like they got a decent catch. Interesting that they're heading away from the coastline. We've got rain on the surface as well. Alright, so I'm probably going to do a little time acceleration here, and we may end up doing a little bit of skipping. This might take a while to actually pick up our contacts. Alright, so we've been trolling around here for about the last 5 minutes at time acceleration, and we have not picked up hide nor hair of these enemy submarines, so I'm going to make a little noise.
Sonar switching to active search.
We have 2 here and here, active, off.
Switching to passive search. Come left.
Turn in between them.
1 Helm I.
They were behind us. Well, not entirely behind us. Our turns should have revealed them.
Come left to 240 Helm I.
They've gone quiet again. Definitely 2. 1 in line with this trawler, and 1 further down south.
Sonar switching to active search.
That's not a return from us.
Con sonar, switching to passive search.
We've got torpedoes fired. 2 torpedoes fired. Second one somewhere around the trawler.
Come
Alright.
left 2, 2. Make turns 4. Make turns 4. Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Torpedoes fired on us. They've been fired down the vector of our active sonar, and we still haven't managed to detect the enemy yet. So they heard us.
Last bearing 2, 5, 4. Contact. Passing 200 feet.
But we can't hear them. Second one near the trawler. I'm going to go for the one to the south first, because it fired first, I suspect. I'm pretty sure that was a torpedo from each of the submarines. So I'm going to follow the first one down its... Yeah, the second submarine's sitting right about where the trawler is.
Making turns.
-5.
0 knots. Con sonar, no longer cavitating.
Speed 10 knots, we're good.
Con sonar, regain contact. Con maneuvering, making turns.
2.
5 knots.
Reload.
Con sonar,
Reload.
make turns. Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Heading Sierra 2. And we've almost straight away lost the signal here.
Lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 210. Contact faded.
Now I'm going to hope they're not going for the trawler, but that should give me a spread heading towards second while I'm hunting down
Contact faded.
Sierra 2. So this will be Sierra 3 when it pops up over here. They may be 2 wasted torpedoes, but at the very least, they're going to give it something to think about. Now that was approximately, it's only 4.1. Go active.
Switching to active search.
Give me a return. Come on, give me a return. I might be going too fast to actually be able to hear at the moment, but nothing but direction, no range data.
Con sonar, switching to passive
But there is a
search.
torpedo that just... Is that a torpedo ping? That may have been a torpedo ping.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
Yeah, those are torpedo
Range
pings.
check for ultra quiet.
Where are they? Much further out than expected. Much further out than expected.
Come left 2.
So much so that with speed, I may be able to get out of these things' way.
We are cavitating.
Possibly.
Come left 2.
Although it's heading me in the wrong direction. 2 short runners. This one has yet to activate. Have we got... The one over here has gone quiet since I fired the torpedoes. That's a submarine. That's a submarine. It's following the trawler. And yes, once again, I'm sure that's a trawler. I've picked it up on radar. The submarine's sitting somewhere in front of it at the moment. I was just thinking whether or not there's actually possibly a third submarine here that I'm not... Well, there still could be. It doesn't mean it's not a third one. It just... Yeah, I'm not sure. Biggest part of Cold Waters is reading the map and making some assumptions based on what you're actually seeing. So I'm going to make a turn direct south once I cross this line. Actually, no, I should probably go over a little bit further.
Come right to 149 Helm High. Con Helm, steady course.
Away. Alright,
Rig shift for ultra
I'm
wide.
going to go silent,
Con sonar, no longer cavitating.
and now I'm going to turn south. So, to those submarines, I should have just disappeared. Torpedo active. I've got a torpedo all the way over here. These two, and then this one. Now, these were launched on a very similar vector, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily from the same submarine. There could be 2 subs down here. Like, what fired that one, and why did it fire it that way? That one would have come from the one on the trawler. This is an interesting little game of cat and mouse here, or hide and seek. Now I could hit active sonar right now and get a new bearing to my target, but I'm reluctant to actually do that this time. That trawler has no idea how lucky it is heading in that direction. If it had been over here, it would have been playing dodge the torpedoes as well. Now, what is our depth? We're at 215 feet, and our current conditions are at 2. Okay, so set depth to 150.
1508 die by.
Have a good listen just below the duct and below the layer, and then we'll pop up above the duct, or pop up into the duct and see if we can hear anything. Considering this sprint here, we should be close enough to be able to hear what's going on. Touch of time acceleration, and
Con sonar, new contact bearing 279, designated Sierra 3.
there is Sierra 3, so there's our missing submarine. Alright, so what are you? Since we have lost Sierra 2 here somewhere. That is a Foxtrot.
Con sonar, Sierra 3 is classified
now we just have to find Sierra 2. You should be relatively close. She was down this end and heading roughly in this direction, I think. Actually got a surprisingly good signal considering the range.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 2.
Oh no, that's what's going on. It's the spreader torpedoes we fired before. They've picked her up. One of them, at the very least, has locked onto her. There it is. So our blind shot the Foxtrot's top speed is only 15 knots. We may have got her. It'll depend on whether or not she can dodge that torp and whether or not she's picked up both of them. If she's picked up both, she's done. If she's picked up one, she's likely done. Although, elite difficulty level, it's entirely possible the Foxtrot could throw a Mark 38.
284.
Speaking of which, how many of those do we actually have left at this point? Well, Mark 37s rather. 4 in the tubes and 4 in storage. So we've got 1 reload on each tube remaining before we've got to head back and pick up some fresh torps. So I'd probably want to head back for fresh torps after this mission, if this is the target. That's the Foxtrot. Again, the Foxtrot. The second Sierra 2 over here has gone dead silent. She's not saying anything. Change direction. Just to see whether or not I can loosen her up a little and see if I can find her. The question is whether or not our Foxtrot is still being hunted. Or whether or not it's shaking our torp. I'm pretty impressed they actually managed to track her down. It's getting faster. Bing, 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 bing. That's a torpedo that's locked on. That's our 37.
Con sonar lost contact.
There it is.
03, last bearing 290. Contact breaking up.
Okay, so one of our blind torps took out one of the Foxtrots, and being a Foxtrot, I expect this is the target. This is exactly the kind of sub that I was expecting to be the one to actually be carrying these troops. So, with one of these down, they really need to dress that up. That's a little pixelated, but anyways, with one of those down, the question is, where is the other?
Con, helm, steady course. Come left 2, 2, 2, 3, helm I.
Alright, so I'm changing depth to go to 100 feet, get into the duct and have a little bit of a listen, and if we're not going to hear anything here, I'm going to have to go active again and see whether or not I can get a return from that second submarine.
Con sonar regained contact.
There's the trawler.
Master 1, bearing 260.
We should nearly be on Sierra 2. Like really, we should be on top of her. From the last course we had, she was heading this way.
Helm aye.
Con, dive at 1008 dive aye.
Let's give it a squeeze of time acceleration as we're tracking here.
Con, helm, steady course.
And still no returns on anything that isn't in trawler, so we're going active.
Switching to active search.
Where are our returns? Come on, give us a return. Nothing. This way, there it is.
Con, all transmit from Master 1. Con,
Fire
wire
1.
Control, we've lost the wire. Shoot.
Fire 2.
Aye, sir.
Reload 2.
Come left 2. Big turns. Con sonar, we are cavitating.
Depth to the bottom, we have 406 feet.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 1.
Passing 200 feet.
It's fine. I charged directly down the torpedo line, but we'll actually pass our own torpedoes since they haven't activated short. And
Con, torpedo route 21 ready.
yeah, they'd end up activating behind us and we'd end up having to dance with their own torpedoes. So I'm going to go a little bit wide here, let our own torpedoes activate. I'm going to go silent once we've pulled off a big enough gap. I know where it is now. It's right about there. And that is another torpedo launch. That's right, look at me. Don't look at the torpedoes that are coming in on you. Just look at me.
Con, torpedo route tube 3 ready.
Change heading.
Come right to 185.
We're going to pass down fast enough that we get past the sensor cone for this torpedo as it goes active.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 2 knots.
Second torpedo looks to be running much wider, so we're going to have to cut back in. Which is fine by me.
Come right to
Making a turn.
7. Helm aye.
That's another torpedo in the water. Alright, so what I'm going to do is cut in back behind my own torps and go quiet. Because there are the torps that are being launched to intercept me on that path. And
Con, helm, steady course. Con, sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 308.
fuck off. No. I was 90 degrees to that torpedo. There was no way that should have actually been able to detect me. I should have been well past its sensor cone. Shit. Yeah, this goes back to a little bit of what I was saying in the last video about the difficulty level in cold waters actually not being because the AI is better programmed or more intelligent. It's actually more based on just RNG and random inconsistencies in the performance of some of the equipment. The pickup cone on that torpedo should be 45 to 55 degrees roughly, and it just detected us at 90. It shouldn't be able to do that, even with me cavitating. It shouldn't have been able to detect me at all, so... Oh well. But the only thing I can do at this point is just keep dropping knuckles. We have a location on Sierra 2 now.
Noisemaker bearing 233.
I might try and drag this thing because I can't outmaneuver it. I haven't got enough water here to be able to outmaneuver this thing properly, and I don't have anything to distract it with. The 68 campaign, there's no moss, so the very best that I can do at this point is just keep running down between my own torps, and well, keep dropping countermeasures. If I'm lucky, it might veer off and detect something else, but otherwise drag it to the enemy submarine. Unfortunately, it's another thing that is the case with cold waters in its current state, and it wasn't always this way, is that Soviet torpedoes will sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes have IFF, something that does not actually exist in torpedoes at all, and so will refuse to lock on to Soviet submarines. And wrecks, for that matter, as well. It never used to be the case, and there was a patch somewhere before... awfully close here. There's a patch somewhere before the South China Sea campaign came out and changed the percentage chance of enemy torpedoes locking onto enemy shipping, including submarines, and locking onto... spun it off again, which is good. Locking onto wrecks, and severely lowered that chance over what it was, which increased the difficulty. It did that most certainly, but also made the it made some of the tactics that you would use very inconsistent, because sometimes they will lock onto an enemy submarine, and sometimes they will lock onto a wreck, and sometimes they'll just go straight past an enemy submarine or an enemy wreck, or will lock onto you regardless. We'll see how the dice rolls today, because I am going to go straight down this November's throat. My 38s, my 37s rather, are well and truly... I don't know why I keep saying 38, but they're well and truly missed. And looks like the knuckle has caused the torpedo to spin off. So we've just lost to November because it's in our baffles. Spiraling up, we should be at the same depth as the November, and torpedo is on the November and misses. Alright, so it does look like it's taken the November this time though, which is good. And it does appear to be turning back. Gotcha. Yeah, mate, you can take that torpedo and you can stick it right where you launched it from. I'm actually glad that worked. I was a little worried I might roll a negative on the RNG there and have the torpedo just ignore the November. I've most certainly had that happen enough times before, but it is nice when it works. Just used to work more often. Anyways, so... that's our 2 targets down, and I actually don't think there is a third now.
Come left 2, 0, 2, helm I.
Alright, so at this point we need to get out of here because we've got all of these torpedoes here, and unfortunately we cannot leave the battlefield until they're all out of range or they've all expired, and those things will last for about 15 minutes real time, give or take. So yeah, time acceleration, I think. Actually, what I'll do, might go and get a screenshot over here with the November, and it'll be fantastic for the thumbnail. Anyways, guys, I'll see you at the results. Alright, so targets November and Foxtrot sunk. We've got 6 Mark 16s and 6 Mark 37s remaining on board. And excellent performance locating and eliminating enemy submarines transporting Spetsnaz commandos. New orders to be sent to this downlink soon. So that was in fact our target. So what are... Red sub sunk. Pentagon today revealed that Soviet submarines attempting an incursion near Oslo, Norway, had been destroyed or driven off by coordinated efforts of NATO service vessels. It was me. Just me. Submarines and aircraft. No, just me. The continued cooperation of NATO members was cited as pivotal to the successful outcome of this operation. Ongoing protection of many NATO allied military installations throughout the theatre remains high priority. NATO's ability to maintain control of the region is founded on these bases. Okay. Well, Norway, you are most certainly welcome. Nice of them to try and scrub out my importance, considering I was the only ship in the area, but hey, that's just the way it is. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. Cold Waters will be returning to the channel very soon, of course, as I think I mentioned in the last video. I'm looking to try and close up the 1968 campaign as soon as possible. It's been running for quite some time now. We'll see whether or not we're getting into the final missions in the next one. Until then, guys, remember to click that like button if you did, share and subscribe if you want to see more. Check out the Magsware store. I've got some new stuff up on there, and I'll have some new stuff coming up very soon. And until next time, take care.